Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's session, I will be taking up a chart that was posted in an astrological study group that I am a part of. It is a chart of a doctor who was arrested a few years ago on criminal charges. The name, birth details, the date of arrest will remain anonymous, and also the comments on this video will be strictly moderated to protect the privacy of all parties involved. What are the things I will be touching upon in this video? First thing, does the chart correlate with the profession he used to be into? Does the chart suggest that he is capable of committing such a crime? Does the chart show the arrest itself? Am I able to time that event using the birth chart astrologically? Is there any hope in future for the release? Is there any correlation between his professional environment, his arrest, and sudden displacement from his home? So these are the only points I will be touching upon in this session. Let me open the chart for you. First thing first, let us check how close the Lagna is to a sign border. It is in the cusp of Virgo, so we are safe enough. The Lagna rises in Virgo and Moon is exalted in the 9th house Taurus. Virgo rising gives us an impression that the person is very intelligent and the Lagna Lord is well placed in the 11th house, and Moon is also well placed in the 9th house along with the 9th Lord. For us to get an idea about the overall personality of a person, we usually see the 3rd house and 6th house from Arudha Lagna. Meaning, is the person saintly or is the person materialistic? This can be seen from 3rd and 6th houses from Arudha Lagna. This is one thumb rule that is mentioned in the classics. If you look at the Rashi chart, Arudha Lagna is in Taurus, which is a benefic sign. 3rd house is in Cancer, which is also a benefic sign. 6th house is in Libra, which is also a benefic sign. Now look at the planets in the 3rd and the 6th houses. We have debilitated Mars, Sun and Mercury in the 3rd, and we have Saturn and Ketu, two malefics in the 6th house. 3rd house from Arudha Lagna shows what kind of drive, what kind of initiative that a person has. Arudha Lagna is the manifested self, what is seen to the world, and 3rd from Lagna shows his initiative and drive. And 6th from Lagna shows his capability of fighting the enemies. For a very saintly person, for like a sadhu, we would see a strong benefic influence in these two houses. He wouldn't go after anybody. He would be very saintly and sadhu. That is what we see in a saint. But in a materialistic person, like a businessman or a politician, there would be a strong malefic planet influence in these two houses. That is, he has a very strong drive. He is someone who can go after enemies. This is seen in materialistic person. I'm not implying that the placement of malefics in these two houses from Arudha Lagna is bad. It is very much needed for a materialistic person. Now let us look at the 3rd and 6th from Arudha Lagna for this particular chart. We have two fiery planets in the 3rd house, which shows that the person is really energetic and he has a lot of drive and initiative within him. Mars is a rank malefic, but he is debilitated there. And Sun, in the matters of dharma, he is a benefic. And Mercury, since he is with two malefics, he will also take up the quality of malefic. So this is someone who has a lot of initiative. And in the 6th house, we have Saturn and Ketu. Ketu is the planet of detachment and deprivation, and Saturn is a cold, emotionless planet. So, for someone who has Saturn in 6th house, we can conclude that 6 from Arudha Lagna, we can conclude that he can be ruthless towards his enemies if tempted. So, this is the indication that we can get from the placements of these two planets, if placements of planets in these two houses. Moreover, we also see if there is any planetary aspect through signs, not the Graha Drishti but the Rashi Drishti. As you can see, Venus and Moon have Rashi Drishti on both Cancer and Libra. So, if you weigh in between the benefic and malefic influence, there is some kind of a balance, because there is both malefic influence and benefic influence on these two houses from Arudha Lagna. Now let us look at the 9th house. Why are we concerned with the 9th house? 9th house and 9th lord stand for dharma, righteousness. Looking at the 9th house gives us an idea as to whether a person is capable of committing a crime or no. In this chart, the 9th house is Taurus and 9th lord Venus is strongly posited in his own house along with an exalted moon and aspected by another benefic Jupiter. So we have 3 benefic influences on the 9th house. That is first point. Now let us see what kind of karma Venus carries from several past lives. That can be seen by looking at the Amsa rulers of Shashtiamsa chart. A benefic Amsa denotes that the planet is carrying good karma from past several lives, and a malefic Shashtiamsa indicates that the planet is carrying bad karma from past several lives. Go to the basics tab, click on Amsa rulers here, and if you right click and choose Shashtiamsa 360, you get the Amsa rulers of all the planets in this chart. We are particularly interested in Venus, and Venus is in Ardra Shashtiamsa. Ardra is a benefic Shashtiamsa. For more details, you can refer to Mantreshwara's Phaladipika as to what this Shashtiamsa mean. But overall indication is that Venus is in a good Shashtiamsa, which means that he is the planet of Dharma in the Rashi chart, is carrying good karma from his past life. Had Venus been in a bad Shashtiamsa, then that would be problematic, indicating that the planet which rules Dharma in this chart does not have a good intention within. That would be the implication. Now Moon, so these are the 2 points with respect to planetary amshas in Shashtiamsa. Coming to Moon, Moon is the Manakkaraka. That has gone into the 9th house of Dharma with a strong 9th lord. The next step that I took up in analyzing this chart is to see why he is in such a bad position at this juncture in his life. For that, I went to Dasas, and in other Dashas, what I did was click on Mula Dasha. Now, Mula Dasha shows the influences of various planets, indicating the root cause of events that is happening in this life. Sometimes in our own lives we feel that we keep doing good things, good karma to others, but we ourselves are suffering in our lives. In order to see why that particular thing is happening, we look at the Mula Dasha. If you see here, please pay close attention to the dashas that I will be mentioning henceforth. He got arrested in this Ketu Mahadasha, and following Ketu is Rahu and Jupiter, and previous to Ketu it was Saturn Mahadasha. Going back to basics, and in the Amsha, what karma is Ketu carrying? Ketu is in the Amsha of Karala Damshtra, which is a bad Shashtiamsha. Following Ketu is Rahu Dasha in Mula Dasha, and that is also in Karala Damshramsha. Following Rahu, it is the Jupiter Mahadasha, which is in the Sarpamsha, which is also a malefic Amsha. So the 3 Dashas, which starting from 2020 onwards till 2040, the planets carry very bad Shashtiamsa, very bad Amsha in the Shashtiamsa. And previous to that, he was running the Saturn Mahadasha. Let us see what karma was Saturn carrying. Saturn was in a benefic Shashtiamsha, and that is Brahmana Shashtiamsha. So the inference is he ran a good period prior to this Ketu Mahadasha period, which was indicative in his professional life. When I went through his social media posts, he did have a very good time during those years. Coming to the next aspect, Dashamsha chart, his professional environment. I had to rectify this chart by a minute and a half for it to make sense with the profession he was into and also the events that have taken place in his life in the past in the professional environment. He was a pediatric physiotherapist. Physiotherapist deals with bones predominantly, and bones are ruled by Saturn. Saturn is in the 10th house of karma, aspected by the 10th lord moon and 3rd and the 6th lord Jupiter. Jupiter is the karaka for children, moon is the karaka for mother. So children, motherly care, and Jupiter is the jiva karaka. So these planets do indicate that physiotherapist, the profession of physiotherapy is a possibility for this, is one of the possibilities for this planetary combinations. Coming to the time when he was arrested, it's the same time when he had to terminate from his job as well. Let us see if that is indicated in the chart. Now the Dashamsha chart, let me take a quick look at my notes. The Dashamsha chart, Shatabdhika Dasha from moon is applicable. I will be giving you all the information with regard to the dashas that I have selected for each of these divisional charts and why in the description box. Going to Nakshatra Dashas tab, I will pick Shatabdhika Dasha for D10 from moon. Okay. When you look at this chart, at least for me, when I looked at this chart for the very first time, what drew my attention was this Guru Chandala Yoga in the Scorpio sign, which happens to be in the 3rd house. If you look at the Bhava Chalit Chakra in the 3rd house, I was told by the party which is very close to this doctor that he was working at a clinic before, and when he tried to change over to his own practice, some people in the previous clinic schemed against him and got him trapped in this case. So if that is true, it can be seen in the chart, because 3rd, 7th and 11th houses in the Dashamsha chart stand for business, Kama Trikona. It is the Kama Trikona, and 3rd house is the house of initiative. So this Guru Chandala Yoga in the 3rd house may indicate that if he is going to start something on his own, this planetary combination may cause trouble. This is one of the inferences that I drew from the chart. Now, as I said, Shatabdhika Dasha is applicable in D10, and the time of arrest, let us see what Dasha he was running. It was Jupiter and Venus. Jupiter is the planet that is troubled by Rahu here. Rahu, this Guru Chandala Yoga, one point to make, this Guru Chandala Yoga will either kick in the Rahu Mahadasha period or in the Jupiter Mahadasha period, or both, depending on the strengths of these planets. In some classics, they consider Rahu to be debilitated. So the Guru Chandala Yoga has kicked in the Jupiter period, and Rahu is inimical to the dispositor, whereas Jupiter is friendly to Mars. So that makes sense why Guru Chandala Yoga got activated in the Jupiter Mahadasha. And what is Venus connected to? Venus is the Lagna Lord in Dashamsha, so he brought in some kind of a change in his professional outlook. And Venus, does he have any other correlation, yes. Venus is the lord of Arudha Pada of the third house. Now, third and eighth house in Dashamsha chart indicate disconnect in the profession. Third house indicates short break, whereas eighth house indicates long break. Now, since Venus is the lord of A3, it indicates there is a short break in his career. That's the indication that we get from the chart. If we look at this chart prior to this event, I would have only been able to say that there might be a possibility of short break in his career during this period. Going to the Rashi chart. Now, this arrest did have some impact in his physical life too. So that has to be seen in the Rashi chart as well. So going to the Rashi chart, let me pull up my notes and see what dasha is applicable. In the D1, the Dwadashottari dasha from moon is applicable. So I'll go ahead and change this to Dwadashottari dasha, and the chart would be D1. When you look at the chart, the Lagna lord is afflicted by 12th lord sun and the rank malefic 3rd and the 8th lord Mars. So if there is any imprisonment at all, it should happen either in Sun Mahadasha or Mercury Mahadasha. Mars may not be a likely candidate because Mars is debilitated here. So Sun and Mercury are strong candidates, and Dwadashottari dasha is the most applicable dasha in this chart. Let me quickly show you why. It is applicable if Lagna is in Venusian Amsha. So if you pull up Navamsha here, Lagna is in Taurus, which is Venusian Amsha. That is why Dwadashottari dasha is applicable. Let me switch back to Dashamsha here. And the arrest happened during Sun Mahadasha period, just as I just told you, it happened during Sun Mahadasha. Why? Sun is the 12th lord afflicting the Lagna lord. And the Antardasha in particular, it was Mercury. Again, it's the Lagna lord, Mercury's Antardasha. And is there any important Arudhapada involved there? Yes, there is. A8. A8 is the Mrityapada. Mrityapada, something bad. That the Arudha of that house, 8th house, is also involved in this particular sign. So the arrest happened in Sun and Mercury period. Now let us quickly take a look at the Bandhan Sahama and see if these two planets have any influence on that. Going back to basics. Key info, natal Sahamas. Bandhana Sahama is a sensitive point that is activated during imprisonment. Bandhana Sahama again is in Cancer, 28-degree Cancer. This can also be seen in the annual chart. I will, however, not show the annual chart of the period when he was imprisoned, because that would give more information about the arrest, and there would be a breach of privacy. So I'll leave that for now. Going forward, let us pay attention to the planets that are involved in the break in career. It is Jupiter, Rahu, Moon and Saturn. Now I am going to show you one interesting thing, correlation or linking between divisional charts. Now the same 4 planets are responsible for displacing him from his house, a sudden displacement from his place of living. Let us see if these 4 planetary influences are seen in the Chaturthamsha chart, the chart that is seen for residence. Remember the 4 planets, Jupiter, Rahu, Moon and Saturn. So I am going to switch to D4 now and pull up the Bhava chart for D4. Now in the Chaturthamsha chart, 4th house is seen for place of residence. And here the Lagna is in Sagittarius and 4th lord is Jupiter. Lagna lord and 4th lord both are Jupiter, and he is in Cancer, retrograde. A retrograde planet in his exaltation sign is akin to being debilitated. So both Lagna Lord and 4th Lord is very weak here. And look in what house he is. He is in the 8th house. With whom? With Saturn. And who is the dispositor of this? The dispositor of this 8th house is Moon. Now what is the indication from this chart is that the 4th Lord of residence is in the 8th house of sudden bad obstacles, hard work. He is in a bad house along with Saturn, who is the 3rd Lord. Moreover, Saturn is the Lord of the 12th house from the house of residence. So this indicates there is a sudden displacement from his place of residence on account of the same planets which were involved in the break in his career. The same Saturn, Jupiter, Moon. If you look at the D4 chart itself, even Ketu, Rahu, Ketu are involved here. So let me parallelly pull up D10 here and show you the correlation once again. We saw that Jupiter, Rahu, Moon and Saturn are closely linked with the breakage in career, and the same 4 planets are responsible for displacing him from his residence. Now let us look at the Dasha in the Chaturthamsha chart and see if in fact those are the planets which are responsible for displacement from house. In D4 chart, Shatabdhika Dasha from Moon is applicable once again. So Dashas, going to Shatabdhika Dasha, I have D4 here, and the period when the bad event happened was Mars Jupiter. Now Mars is the 5th Lord and the 12th Lord. He is in Manakaraka Sthana in the 7th house, and Jupiter is the Lagna Lord and the 4th Lord who is badly afflicted. So in fact this makes sense with the incident that has occurred in the past. Moving on, let us see if there is any period in the near future that he can see some light in this case. D1, pulling up the Rashi chart, and let's go back to D10 here, and Bhava chart of D1. As I told you, the Dasha that is applicable in Rashi chart is Dwadashottari Dasha, and this will go back to D1. He is running the 12th Lord's Dasha up until 26th April, and after that there is Jupiter Dasha going to come up. Now Jupiter, even though he is debilitated, he is the 4th and the 7th Lord, not a bad planet. He is the Lord of 4th house, which indicates direction in life, and 7th house of interaction. He seems to be debilitated, but since he is retrograde, he is akin to being exalted. So he is quite strong here. And his Dasha is going to run from 2026 to 2035. So that would be the period where he could see some relief regarding this case. I would not go into the details as to what kind of verdict might be possible. I do not want to go into such a detail, but the current period that he is running, 2019 to 2026, is a bad period because it is the 12th Lord's Dasha. And if you look at the Tithi Pravesha chart of 2026, let us see if it is seen in the annual chart too. In the annual chart, Hora Lord is Venus, okay, and Jupiter is in Lagna, which is a very good indication. He is also the 9th Lord of protection is in Lagna, and the Lagna Lord Moon is exalted in the 11th house of gains along with Yogakaraka Mars, so that forming a Chandramangala Yoga in the 11th house. So this is a pretty strong chart. So I am hoping that there could be some kind of relief during this year. Again, I do not know which party is at fault, so I cannot come into a clear conclusion as to whether he will be convicted or not. I do not want to go into such details. Again, just by looking at the Rashi chart and some indications in the Shashtiamsa chart, it is not possible to come into that conclusion. We have to look at the Nakshatramsha chart, which gives an idea about the inner instincts of a person, and Trimshamsha chart, which gives an indication about the weaknesses of the person, and then Khavedamsha chart D40 to show if the person is aligned with the cosmic will, and then the Akshavedhamsha chart, which shows if the person is aligned with the cosmic truth, and finally the Shashtiamsha chart, which shows how the events in the past several lives unfold. In order to analyze all these charts of higher harmonics, it's very much necessary to have a very accurate birth time. I do not know anything about this person personally. This was just a chart that was posted as a puzzle in our group, and even by reverse engineering, it is not possible. It is highly impossible to arrive at the exact birth time. We can only be sure of a range, but we cannot get the exact birth time. And in D60 Shashtiamsha chart, the Lagna changes every 2 minutes. In order to see what kind of karma led to such a bad incident in life, we will have to go into that level of analysis. Hope this video was enlightening you with respect to learning, and if you have any questions, please go forward and post them as comments in this channel. If there is any doubt as to whether the comment reveals the identity of the person, I will not be posting those comments. But if there is any comment with respect to interaction on learning, I will definitely entertain those comments. Hope to see you all in the next video. Goodbye until then.